sure you make it now. Happy Sunday. Welcome back. For those of you who are joining us again, welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, we're inviting you here, enjoying to have you here with Soulful Sundays. For those of you online, and for those of you who are in person with us, welcome, welcome, welcome. What we're going to do is go ahead and have ourselves a little bit of the drum circle, sound circle. We're just going to create some energy with music and vibration. Would you like an instrument? What's your name? Just give you other percussions available right there, So we're just going to get some sounds going. You gonna grab the other gym bag?
Playing whatever you feel.
We're gonna try to flow it, and I'm gonna give it today something to flow with. Thank you. Thank you.
In my culture, I'm from Ethiopia. We
Okay.
use a lot of this breath thing, hold it in the air,
Uh-huh.
and they kind of do it. I was like, that's fascinating.
Yes, yes, yes. It's, my drum is quite heavy.
Yeah.
Usually when a
kind
chef
of,
plays,
yeah.
he'll play strapped and have the drum,
Okay.
you know, and play standing. I tend to choose to drum sitting.
Yeah.
One, my drum is very heavy, and I have noticed for me,
Yeah.
having the vibration
Yeah.
right between my legs as a woman, it crawls, you know, cause other
yeah.
things to be happening with there. So I prefer to have it on the floor, and I'll put a strap around my waist and lean it, opposed to holding the vibration between my legs.
Gotcha.
You know, and for different people, it's different things.
How long
You know.
have you been doing it?
I have been drumming for 2 years now.
You're awesome. It seems like decades.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So again, welcome to Soulful Sundays. We're talking with, tell me your name again. Sophie and Margie and Ima, you know, are in house with us this morning. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll talk again. We've been coming from the Kabbalah and the three initiates that have been the things that we've been talking about. But before we go into discussion, we're going to go ahead and have Master Chef to do our prayer and libation for us.
So again, welcome, and we like to settle ourselves after the drumming into the now, with what we call our invocation breaths. Just simply 3 deep breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just to settle ourselves into this moment as we commune with the all, everything, with all dimensions in this portal. We do that by simply relaxing, starting with the exhaling all the air out, taking a deep breath in through the nose, releasing out through the mouth. Deep breath in through the nose, releasing out through the mouth. One more deep breath in through the nose, slowly and gently releasing out through the mouth. Relaxing while releasing. As simple as breathing. And as we hold space in this breath, we would like to give thanks for this moment and place, time and space. Come together as one, in one, doing the work of one. Giving thanks to all forms of our highest self, source energy, Mother, Father, God. The Pope, the Ru, the Risha, the Ifa, the Masters, angels, archangels, deity, spirit guide, as well as our when we hold space now, portal is open. We also give special thanks to our ancestors, those who have walked the earth in physical form, was the pouring of the libation, symbolizes the connection of the spirit world and the physical world. That we pour this water into the earth, symbolized by this plant, You are welcome to call out the names of your ancestors, those that you personally know, those that you relate and connect with, and those who just know that it's supporting you on this journey. Again, you can say Ashe.
Melinda Partner,
Ashe.
Rose Porter,
Ashe.
Ezra Porter,
Ashe.
Cora Porter,
Ashe.
Floyd Porter,
Ashe. Bertha Tucker.
Ashe,
Mal Tucker.
Ashe,
Mary Wallace.
Ashe, Stephen Biko,
Ashe.
Lisa Johnson,
Ashe,
William Johnson,
Ashe,
Romy Williams,
Ashe,
Jimmy Lee Williams,
Ashe, Marcus Garvey,
Ashe.
Harriet Tubman,
Ashe.
Frederick Douglass,
Ashe. Nat Turner.
Ashe,
Dr. Noble Drew Ali.
Ashe,
Malcolm X.
Ashe,
And I,
Stephen Biko,
Ashe.
Mary Webber,
Ashe.
Ashe,
Ashe. Ashe. Oh.
Ashe,
Indeed. What's happening now? Overall, time.
Welcome, welcome, Oliver. Miss you, sis. Haven't seen or heard from you in a while. We must connect. We must connect. All right, all right. So we've already talked about mentalism from the Kabbalah. And again, the book we've been talking about the three initiates. We talked about mentalism and how we think things into existence, how we are co-creators constantly with our thoughts and with our energies that we put behind the thoughts. It's like if you have a bad day and you talk so much about how bad your day was, you continue to manifest the energy of that bad day. But if things aren't going so favorable, you can say, hey, this isn't favorable, but, and then put a spin on that unfavorable situation and start looking at positive things and how mentally we create those things. It's like if you want to achieve something, you first start thinking about, oh, I would like to do X, Y, and Z. And then you start putting your energies into making X, Y, and Z happen. And so that's how you move and flow with mentalism. Then we talk about the principle of correspondence, as above, so below. So whatever it is that you're doing here in this energy, it's coming from above too. It's like you're connected to source always. And we're creating and getting things to go behind you. You ever just think about, something that you really want to have happen and it starts to manifest. And so you use your mentalism, but then you also connect with the energies outside of self that help you to bring things into fruition. Then it's the principle of vibration, like when you all come into the space for the sound bath, that is definitely the vibration. So if you come and bring with you the expectation of I'm going to go and I'm going to be able to meditate and I'm going to let the sounds carry me, that vibration works with you because that's the energy that you started with. And so it's just matching up with you. And again, all of the principles come together. So you got source coming together with you from here, connected with things here on earth. And you had already thought, I'm going to go and have a good experience. And so since that was your thought, that is what you made manifest. So you have all of that working together with vibration and polarity. You have extreme opposites. So if you are in a very negative space, you can create very negatively, or you could flip that negative and make it a positive. You could lose someone who was dying and had this terrible sickness. And you can feel the loss of that person and dwell in the energy of, oh, they're gone. They have transcended. Or you can say they have gone to a beautiful place now. They're no longer in pain. They're no longer in suffering. So the polarity of that is to be able to make it a much better space for yourself and for accepting the experience of what's going on. And then it was rhythm, What's your rhythm like? How you flowing? Some days I might be pretty fast. I might be moving and making things just happen. Other days I might have to contemplate a little bit. I might have to, let me slow this down. This is moving too fast. Let me explore what's taking place. Let me think about what's happening. So you then have the rhythm, Ever try like drumming, we can have a good rhythm in drumming, but there might be sometimes you hit that wrong note, that wrong note could make a difference in someone's experience. If you sit here in meditation and everything is real, you know, you can enjoy that space. That's gonna make you jump. That's gonna take you that rhythm change.
Yeah.
It's gonna cause something.
Yes.
It's gonna cause something, and we get to that, and we move that into cause and effect. That's our conversation today. Cause and effect. So that loud that y'all didn't expect 2 seconds ago, that cause was like, okay, we got her point, but it also made you jump, because you didn't expect that. So when you do anything, when you're moving through all of the systems, you have the cause and effect. And I know I just ran through all of that, Master Chef, but I'm going to give you an opportunity. Is there anything, before we move into cause and to effect, is there anything that vibrated with you over the past weeks that you've been able to integrate that you would like to share with us today?
Well, I personally like to yield that to just pass the baton because it's so much. It's how you don't know where to begin because we've been practicing these things anyway for quite some time now. And we just look for cause and effect when it's time to share something new or something different. And other than that, as you heard the laws at play, does anyone would like to share any of their own experiences of how you've seen them or perspectives of them, or you haven't heard of them, or you heard them but you thought this way, or it's right on, you've been working with them also. So the floor is open to just chime in how you feel
About any of the laws.
any of
Any thoughts, anything? So, I'll say again, the principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, and then today we're talking about cause and effects.
I'll speak to the principle of mentalism.
Okay.
Saying for the past few weeks, I've been getting this idea that humans, we are moving away from so many words, but more into digital but almost like a photographic set of information that we are passing along as opposed to speaking. You just hold the image, and whatever you come across, they receive it. And so it's like it has been resonating in so many things where I'm picking it up that, okay, I think we're moving more to, let's say mentalism also, but also telepathy. And whatever image I hold, as I hold that vibration, whoever I come across, depending on whether they resonate with it, they pick it up and I don't have to say anything. So that's one thing that I've been integrating with us.
Yes, awesome.
Ah,
Awesome.
that
And-
resonates.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, I've experienced that. I want you to too. And something that has resonated with me over the past few years, I was ill, and I noticed that it is mental, because if I think a different way, I feel a different way,
Yeah.
and I was able to heal myself without having traditional medicine.
Yeah.
And then things just come to me about what I need to make myself feel better or to heal myself. And it's based on all natural substances and herbs and
Yes.
essential oils and
Yeah.
the use of crystals and self-healing with Reiki. And it's been profound. And I'm 90% back, but I'm getting better and better every day.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. We have anyone speaking online? I don't want to move too fast. Does that give them an opportunity to chime in?
Yeah, earlier on, Rowan had chimed in and said, all things are favorable. And then when we learn to accept and allow all of this, the judgment of favorable or unfavorable is non-existence. So, judgment. So yeah, releasing the judgment in a way by accepting all things.
Mhm.
That's yeah,
Ashe.
yeah, and that that perspective, right? Recall conversations we had similar to that about it's all good. We've heard the saying, it's all good, it's all good, it's all good. And similar to, in a general way, how it came about, it was mentioned that I'm like saying, I'm bad at not calling people back. For example, the rule she's, slow assistant. I'm bad at not calling people back, and so my person's like, well, actually, you're good at it.
Hmm.
You're really good at not calling people back. And so, that simple, shift was reminded, at that time is that, right. So even though it is not maybe the beneficial thing for you, for us, my person, it is good at it.
Right.
Right. And so with that, it is free in accepting what is. And then if we can do that personally, for self, then it's easier to, if someone else does something that my person feels as though, hey, it is different. And instead of maybe feeling a certain way about it, we just say, oh, they're good at that thing right there. Right, extend grace, because this is what they're good at, intentional, unintentional. So you allow the same grace you allow for self, you allow for someone else. Same love you have for self, you have for someone else. So that was that was, the takeaway from that. But you just chimed in again and said the order of these principles seems like an energetic roadmap to source.
That's precious, actually.
Oh, okay.
Precious mother love, welcome.
Yeah. Precious mother love. Okay.
There are two preciouses that's usually actually there are three that's usually within our community. So we have precious Funaya, then we have precious mother love, and then there's just precious. It's just a much younger young lady that comes through sometimes. So good to see you. Good to see you.
Yes, and I personally like to comment on this comment as well. This is a beautiful correspondence. The order of these principles seems like an energetic roadmap to source. So my person has recently just did a presentation this past Friday on the yin and yang of health. In essence, the yin and yang is balance. So how does that look like to have a balance in health? As a metaphysician, the perspective is the feminine energy is creation, the masculine is source. Generally speaking, although source came with it as feminine and creation is masculine. However, my person chooses the opposite because it serves it in this manner. As a divine being, as the masculine, it says what source energy does, God sees it. It holds space, supports creation, the divine feminine. Creation is energy and motion. It's going, masculine and feminine. It's like we're doing this thing, creating everything, right? So, and it supports it. It also gives it structure. And the structure is these hermetic principles, the principles that we're speaking about now. So these are the structure or the laws that govern how creation flows. And so that's how my person internalizes it with their own being. It says, hold the intention of what you desire. You say, hold the vibration. Just think about it. Just hold it, think about it. And at the same time you're thinking about it, understand these laws on creation. So if at any moment that we feel a certain way about something, whether it be anger or sad, or we only feel something, the divine master is able to share the principles, these laws of how energy works. And so if she understands that, she's relaxing too all. And so allow her that space to feel it. And my person is saying, this is why you feel it, because this is the law that took place. You understand, then over time, and the more we do this, just allow her the space to feel, right? Then just remind her of these principles, of these laws. This is why it happened. Eventually, she begins to move with that understanding. So it's no more, she moves because we know these laws. So this is how we're going to flow. So my person, divine master, leaves space. We have these intentions, but we're not locked in on how to manifest it. We give her the freedom. You know, because the law of rhythm says sometimes she's doing a rest. You know, especially in the daytime, sometimes the divine math will be like, you know, it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you should be doing something. You know, but she can be like, just wanna, you know, then later on realize, oh, it's the full moon. So we're being obedient to how she feels to honor that moon. Whereas the divine master was like, no, we got stuff to do. So this is how my person's being evolved and using these principles. Again, as she said, as the roadmap for balance. That's my person's own, as the uncle's around, symbolizes that's my person's own masculine and feminine. So he's not too hard on her. Just reminds her of this is what we wish to manifest at your own time. And if something happened, that may be, whoa, why the tablet? Hey, these are the laws, baby. You know, yeah, okay. Well, you know, and we'll get some rest, you know, and then we'll get up and when we feel better, we got you, Daddy. So this is how, you know,
Awesome. It's like it's this book and reading all of the principles and it's like I read it before, but when I decided to just have this be our discussions over 7 weeks, it just made me understand they're all intertwined. Even when I'm trying to describe one, I'm still pulling principles from the other because that's just, as she was saying, how it all just connects to make this coherent whole. You know, it's like you can look at bits and pieces, but you can't really isolate the bits and pieces because it's all the whole. It all comes together to do that. You know, when you look at today's discussion being cause and effect, you know, what is your life looking like today? And what is it that you may want to have move into a different direction? Sometimes you got to look at the root cause that's creating this effect, you know. And if you keep producing the same thing and it's not the thing that you want, you know, what is causing you to produce that thing over and over? So where am I in my mind, you know, that's leading to this cause? You know, what experiences have I had? You know, what has been the polarities? You know, the extremes of what took place in my childhood that I am still, you know, pulling from, that's creating this thing in my adult life, you know, that I haven't really dealt with. So you go back into that cause, you look at those polarities, you know, or what rhythm am I in? Am I trying to do things out of season? You know, am I going outside collecting corn and it hasn't come to harvest time yet? But now I'm trying to make something with this corn, but we're not at harvest time yet. And so I'm not getting a good yield of what I'm looking for because I moved out of season. I didn't do what I need to do in preparation. So when the season of harvest came, I didn't get good crop, you know. So you have to continue and always move in the spaces of understanding the laws. And how do I apply the law when? You know, because sometimes the cause might be because of what's taking place right here, what I had planned, what was on the agenda, have to shift. The effect is that shift, you know. I was going to be here and I was going to do the sound meditation, you know, was out of town and was late and didn't get here at the time that I wanted to be here, you know. Then we show up and there are people outside waiting to get in, you know, as you were pulling, getting ready to leave, you know, it was like, the cause was we weren't here at the time expected, but the effect could have been different. You could have just been upset and left, or just chose to, okay, you all are here and we'll come. So the effect is now that we're in the space, what do we do with your time that we're here? Do we give you cause, you know, to come back, to get a different effect of what's happening here, you know? And to be in understanding that the laws are always at place because it's still perfect. You know, it's still perfect because we still have the opportunity to address now, you know. So the polarities could be I'm upset, or the space could be okay. This is the cause, but this is the effect that I have now. This is the energy that I'm flowing in now, and having a vibration that's soothing having a vibration that's healing, having a mindset to know, hey, and recognize the healing, and to expect the healing and to even understand that the healing really comes from within. So whatever's on the outside, whatever you're looking to reproduce from the outside, it really starts with what you have on the inside. And you really maybe just need something to affirm what you already know about yourself. With you being the Reiki healer, master, you already understand, what's happening with the chakras when I'm playing the chakra bowls and how that's just connecting to your own knowing. So now there's something outside affirming what you already know and work within on the inside. And so it allows you to transcend this space and transcend this moment and transcend whatever thoughts and feeling you were having right before you got in to a space of, but I'm here now, I'm in this moment now. I have healing to give and I have healing to receive, because whatever you send out, you bring that in, and whatever's on the inside, you're able to share with that's happening outside. So being in all of these space, cause and effect, Is there anything that anybody would like to share that they know now that there's a cause or effect that they're trying to get because of a cause, that they just want, just some energy and collective power from everybody's centered energy to try to help shift that cause? Anything anyone is sharing?
I've been following the page, I think, 2 weeks or something. And I think I missed the ceremony. And I was thinking yesterday, normally this time I'm doing a meditation in the park. And during my meditation this morning, it was like, that meditation is great, but you need to go to this morning. Like, and it was like, the meditation I do is good, but it's very individualized. Every person is sitting and doing the steps, but there is no community during the session. So it was almost like, whatever it was, I was, like I've seen the immediate cause and effect of why I needed to be in this place today.
And that's the same for me, because I do a lot by myself in my space, because I like my space, so I'm just there by myself. Do not ask me how I found you last night when I was on my phone, and I don't know what happened, but I know I was on my phone. I put in sound bath. You all came up. Next thing I know, I was registering. I mean, everything just happened, and it's literally right at the time that I needed for this to happen. Because as I told you, I don't have my own space. I desire to have my own space. I never knew about this, and it's just like everything is aligning now that I'm ready for that. Because I always said, I need to make sure that I'm in a space to hold space for other people as I heal until they can get to that point. But now that and that has happened, and now things are just, the doors are just open, and it's a great feeling. And just to be here today, it feels like, it's amazing.
Right. Cause and effect, and I'm liking the cause, the need, the desire, and then you're affected the getting out and moving and coming into Temple Mother Earth today to put you in position to experience one community and have like minds come together and manifest those things that you want to see come to fruition. So it's like the perfect space, the perfect rhythm, the perfect vibration, the perfect mentalism, all of that to come into space. It's like, and before we leave today, we're going to all do the sound bowl together so that we can all experience that space as a whole. For those of you online, if you want to do your sound bowls at home, when we close out towards the end, you're able to do that. But I just feel like that's a joint healing that was called for today. So that'll be what we do.
Strength in numbers.
Yes.
You know, and they, even when I'm by myself and I feel all that energy,
Mhm.
it's a different kind of energy in the numbers in this room.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Any more comments?
Yes. Mama Iwa Iya Sawu, Dr. U's mom, says, gave us a shout out there. Teach blessed, supreme love, healing, and divine spirit. So, good. Thanks, Mama Iwa.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you.
Yes.
Enjoy her. We just did a powerful walk of healing throughout the Anacostia area, and she's been doing it here in DC and New York. And so we just had a wonderful time past Saturday going to throughout Anacostia and just doing a healing walk. And you know, she is a great inspiration to me. You know, just to have someone that has the heart of the people and you know walking and remembering the ancestors. Like we usually walk from Anacostia to Frederick Douglass House, and we end outside
Okay.
of Frederick Douglass home, and it's a beautiful experience
That's
because
nice.
different people will join us, you know, just from the community and the walk, and we have opportunities to bless different people.
Are there
that
scheduled
join us.
dates for that?
She does have scheduled dates, but we just did it. The
Right.
one for DC has
Okay.
already passed, and so
Okay.
it'll happen again next year.
Okay.
We've also did maybe considered a specialty walk, where we actually went down to Georgetown.
Okay.
Because there was a story that's qualities is kept. There was a rebellion, slave rebellion in Georgetown, at the down at Haynes Point area. You know,
Not
the
Haynes
wharf-
Point, but the Georgetown Wharf.
the wharf
Yeah.
down in that area.
Okay.
Right. Who was at Haynes Point? Who was at Haynes Point doing the ritual drumming celebration? That's how my person was
Yeah,
from
and
Haynes Point.
yeah.
And the name of the book was a Pearl. Because Margie Pearl is it?
Well, Nita Pearl.
Nita Pearl.
Yeah.
Okay, Nita Pearl. So yeah, Nita Pearl. So that Pearl came back with Sister Mama Ia, Sawu, the ancestral walk. And the message that came back was they thought that we had forgotten about them. You know, again, because no one talks about the rebellion, and there was so much rich history, you know, of the slave trade in Georgetown, then the living quarters there, then how they were moved out, and, you know, so as she initiated that, you know, it was very emotional, you know, for my person, because sometimes the divine master, you know, we just do it because we understand these things, but we actually have to feel it, you know, while they're feeling it. Wow, this is different, you know, haven't had this before, of them acknowledging and celebrating us for having to remember them.
Right.
So again, give a shout out to Mama Ia Sawu,
Right.
Yes.
right, mother of Dr. Yuma Bellamy, who is also a member of the Collective Health Initiative. We may talk about that later as we do the information piece. And also as a drummer, you know, he teaches classes up at Super Maryland as well. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Dr. Yuma, what he do real quick. Yeah. A Chef Soup, peace and wholeness, peace and blessings to Chef Soup online.
Welcome, 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 Hepshatsu. I hope things went well for you yesterday. She offered me an opportunity to come. I do the organized pyramids and do chakra sets and everything with the organizing. She wanted me to be able to come and then yesterday, but a chef and I would, you know, providing services with drumming for a wedding, you know, and so when we drum, it's also calling in ancestors, and we're also bringing in healing, and we're also bringing in blessings to our friend's marriage, so that we strengthen it, you know, through the drumming, which has been the powerful prayer of our people when we weren't allowed to pray, you know, out loud, when we couldn't utter the words, you know. The drums have always held that healing and that rhythm, you know, which is why even in some cases they begin to even ban the drum, you know. But we are such powerful and magical people. Like when we couldn't drum and we couldn't sing, we may hum, you know, or we make hornrow a prayer into the heads and messages into the hairstyles. It's like we have always been creative in our outreach, and so when we do anything, we don't take it lightly. It's always service, it's always ministry, you know, just showing up. cause and effect, making a decision to be the change that we want to see in the world, making the decision to send out energies in our day-to-day walks, in our lifestyle. It's not just, oh, let me put this on today. Let me be this today. And if it is for your day, and that's okay, because what you choose today is going to have another effect on tomorrow. So even if you just choose to do it, if you're just a Sunday saint, that energy you put out Sunday will come back and find you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, where you might want to do it now Sunday and Monday, so that it continues to come back. Is whatever you do, it's going to come back. There's always a cause and there's always an effect, so constantly in that space.
So we'd like to share a cause and effect that connection just recently happened, somewhat in stages. Well, yes, it was in stages. The first was the realization. The first may have been what we consider the law of polarity. We would say the law of polarity, right? And it comes in the perspective of the alpha male. That alpha male, generally speaking, is the leader. Is the one who, the HNIC, as some may say, name taker and whatever that phrase goes. This way, they got it. Kind of like most aggressive CEOs and things like that. Strict cutthroat. Usually, it's associated with the masculine, the man. So recently, my personality, not the insight, says, wait a minute, that's a vibration. The yin yang says that there is some divine feminine who has the vibration of the alpha male. Cognitive dissonance, like whoa. So that was the first thing. It's like whoa. And so then, as my person explored this more, so wait a minute, that has caused challenges in communication, and this is why. This is the latest cause and effect. My person's biological father, Pops, Tyrone Tucker, 11 to life. His vibration was an alpha male. Yes. And it's, the irony of it, polarity again, is my person is engaged more in the conscious community, as they say, healing self and taking full accountability to walk as a God, goddess, it's a different mindset. And so they're the alpha male vibrations here, So I'm in with masculine men, my person, we recognize them because it's easy and we just deal with them accordingly. However, the divine feminine alpha male is like it's so subtle we didn't put it on there, so we're not putting that together. However, the cause and effect is Pops is an alpha male. It's more in the streets. As we had a conversation, he apologized for not really fully being there because, as he says, he wanted to be a gangster. Gangster. Chicago, Chi-Town. My person incarnated in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So it's in Alabama. It's a city though. It's a small city. So Chicago ruled things. And what happened was, my person's been sharing this story. As I look back at his childhood, how it felt when being talked about him in that street language. At times he wanted to cry, but it couldn't because that would just exacerbate the situation. So we just had to suppress whatever emotions were going on as he's just talking hard and yelling about simple stuff. We didn't know. It's just so. So now it's double. Somewhat of a double, at least, been around 51 times, but we let this inner child out, baby, child ever. And so my person realized that, hey, when that energy comes, if you're not prepared for it, as somewhat of an adult, you can speak out now. So we just come back out, shoot back out. Because this person, alpha male, is in here. Even though my person didn't walk with it, is in here. And if we feel a threat coming, that alpha male comes out. However, now understanding the divine feminine, that because it has an alpha male vibration. My person already knows it's triggered by it. And so it is more that she now, she oh, what but it's come back, rah, rah, rah. It's more her feeling a certain way. It's like, come on now. So that, come back out. So now she's like, oh, so you're doing this now. Oh, let's stay out from there. So we see, we don't allow you that expression. So we're not gonna intentionally, suppress it or raise the vibration up to challenge it. We just submit ourselves to that natural energy. That's what she said. We'll submit ourselves to you. And just give it that expression to do what it got to do. Once it's over, it'll calm back down. We're back to whatever's that going on. And so, but this is just coming now. So it's now the process of rewiring. Continue to tell this story. So give thanks to share this, because this is like over the last couple of days. It's just like insight came up. Like, wait a minute. We know about the triggers. We know about the alpha male, but we haven't put the alpha male with the divine feminine. And it, just look back overall, like you move the life flash, see all these different experiences. Like, man, we did some. Ooh, we didn't know. It was operating from the programming conditions. So now as we move forward, the law of correspondence says, and mentalism, more to the highest, the more my person intentionally shows up and allows it to have its space, every time it does it intentionally, that's also a vibration that permeates the multiverse. And since the past, the present, and the future is happening right now, my person is healing all those things that was unresolved before, right now. Whatever's going on right now as well, and it's setting itself up for the future to get this to come back to it in the future. The more intentional it is about, hey, remember, give it its space. Give it its space. Relax. It's okay. Oh, and then you get more insight and lessons that come from it. There's so much goes on out of that. But this is the allowance of the cause and effect. From correspondence says, hey, we didn't put those two together. Now we see it, duality, cause and effect. Now correspondence, as we intentional, we shift it. So we add it now to that portal. This portal. The earth portal.
You talk a lot about, the gender, the masculine and feminine, and his having a conversation with himself being masculine and his feminine piece. And next week we will be talking about the genders. Like one of the things in our conversation, he was talking about my masculine energy, and how I show up as the masculine person. And it's like I was taking offense to it, because I'm like, so you don't think I'm a woman?
Okay.
You don't think I'm feminine?
Gotcha.
And yes, I have a lot of natural brothers, and I work in the theater world. And so I lived and I've been taking care of myself since I was 14. And I lived and worked with a bunch of guys who were Howard University students. So it's like, for me to be successful in the theater world, which is usually the successful people in the areas that I was in would be white Jewish men, I had to show up a certain way, because I would be the boss that nobody knew was the boss. So at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I'm commanding shows. I'm stage manager, and I'm light designer. I'm the director. I am the set designer, at a very young age. And everyone else sitting around the production table might have been white males, and I am the boss. And so these older people have to answer to me. And so there had to be some grit. There had to be something about me, because I wasn't homeless. I wasn't living on the streets. I wasn't suffering for anything. Like my first car was a BMW at 18, Mercedes, thank you, at 18 years old, and I showed people the pictures. I'm like, so I was doing what I needed to do to be successful. But I was a go home at night and cry, because I had all of these horrible experiences. But you was not going to get the benefit of my tears during the day. When I showed up at work, especially being young, Black, and female, when I showed up at work, I'm going to be the best. I am going to make sure you know that you need me, so that when I am gone, you feel that hurt. Because if I was hired to do lighting, I'm also helping the set people. I'm also helping the carpentry people. I'm also helping the actors. I'm doing all of these roles where I made myself dependent upon. I made you need me. So if I left, you felt it, because where I was filling in the gaps where you might have had people on crew that wasn't doing their part, I'm filling in a gap. Now you think you're using me, but I'm overstanding. Oh, if I ever leave, this section hurt, that section hurt. There is no part of this production that is not going to hurt if I leave, which will really cripple your production, because I was the type of person mentally always planning, always thinking about, oh, if I don't like something that's happening, when is the best time to leave? Oh, if I leave like 10 minutes before show opens, they don't have time to replace me. That's how I would think. And that's how I would operate. And then I would leave at that time. And whatever it was I was demanding, now that your show is late and you can't move without me, whatever it was that I was demanding, I'm going to get everything I'm asking for, because you're going to need me. So you're going to give me what I'm asking for. And there might have been you didn't want to pay me. You agreed to pay such a lot of money, but when it was this young Black person that showed up, you thought, oh, I'm not going to give you the rest of this money. I would be like, okay, I quit right before you have to open. And now you can't get this done. Only when I come back, you can't now write me a check, because you can cancel a check. I'm going to need y'all to procure some cash. If that means collecting them ticket monies and put it in my hand, I'm going to need y'all to procure the cash for me. And then when you pay me, I've done things like completely deleted a whole lighting board, computer system, but I got the whole show on a disc. So you go to the board and it's deleted, but you can't do anything with that show. I'll sit there and wait until I counted the money, I procured the money, and I'll sit there. Then I might pop in a little disc and your whole show, ta-da, here it is again. But not overstanding that cause and effect has put me in this space where I do ride with that masculine vibration that may show up, because if I feel intimidated, I'm going to figure out what I got to do to take care of me, what I got to do to make me feel protected. I'm already thinking about next week before next week get here, because I already see a pattern of things starting to come to play. And I'm like, ooh. So when he said that, the offense was strong. I ain't masculine. But that's how the masculine energy work. It's a planner. It's a visionary. We create. We manifest. So that feminine part where I do the designs and everything's real pretty and everything, that's that feminine energy all day long. But that masculine energy is sitting there trying to know, what do I need to do to make this light work? How much energy and power needs to come from the electrical source, to make sure I have enough lights to do that. What does it look like when it travels down the road? When I go into other places, how do I collect all of these blueprints for all of these different theaters so that I could know that what I need to shade? It's like all of that planning. It's that masculine energy, And then all of that pretty that I lay on it for the show is that feminine energy, but not overstanding that. But if I feel threatened, if we having an altercation verbally, that masculine energy is going to show up. And then, if he go in the room and close the door and I go in the rubber room and get in the pillow and cry, that's that feminine, that feminine energy. I think I was the only one growing up that would get into street fights in the neighborhood and never had to fight, never fought a female. My brothers always be like, you can't beat my sister. So I had to fight these boys and I would win. I would beat them with somebody. And as soon as I get in my room, I get the pillow and I'm screaming and crying into the pillow, because I didn't want nobody to know that I was crying. That masculine energy was out there, but that feminine little girl would be in her room crying. It's like I see that. That's still how I flow today. It's like out front, but when I go home, all of the feminine come out, all of the tears come out, But being able to recognize that man and go, okay, this is how I function. So what are the causes that's making me think I have to function this way, so that I can switch it up, so I can mentally make a decision this person isn't attacking me, or this person isn't trying to hurt me. So I don't have to go in that defense. I don't have to start down figuring out how I'm gonna get you back. You know, I can resolve this right here and right now
Right.
and be at peace.
Right.
You know.
But I do like, even when you were younger and didn't know those things, there was a part of you mentally that knew how to bring yourself back to balance. You presented that strong front, but then you would go back and cry, which evened it out. So even as a child, your mental knew that.
Right. Right.
So I think that's beautiful.
Right. Thank you for that insight.
I think. Yeah.
Look like someone had a comment.
Yes. A chef soup. Chef Soup says, had this conversation just yesterday with the spiritual brother. Our energies are alike. We both were discussing masculine and feminine energy. I'm reflecting on when my masculine energy comes through and understanding that I don't have to exude it in what I now realize. And what I now realize when I get in defense mode. In the end, the brother said, it's all good, sister.
So again, how all these principles tie together. And, our final conversation will be the principles of gender. That's what we'll be talking about next strong. You know, and so this is going to be great.
Yeah, she also just wrote, I realize my feminine energy comes out a lot when I'm counseling. It's the compassion for others. Chef Soup.
Welcome, precious mother love.
Indeed. Either way.
We've been discussing cause and effect. I know you were online for a little bit. Putting you on the hot seat. I'm not gonna say I don't mean to put you on the hot seat, but I know you're just walking in, putting it on the option. But I'm sure you have some insight with cause and effect you would like to share.
Wow. Well, I like how you were bringing out the fact that you have, over the years, not only nurtured but cultivated that masculine energy so that you can be able to adapt and relate in, the environment that you're in. But now, and coming from a place where you have these brothers and things like that, so you work well in that environment. And so, like for me, I had a similar scenario, but I didn't cultivate the feminine as much. It was, I had 7 brothers, I worked in mostly a male environment, and so for the most part, they would expect, that's why I put my first initial and then my middle name, so that when we use my first initial and my last name, you can never tell.
Right. Same thing.
And so, I find that bringing out the feminine now at this age, because it wasn't cultivated, with no sisters. I had aunts, my grandmother. So there was some influence, but at some point I had to try to, the cause went away as far as, didn't have as much of that male environment. Now I'm able to start to recognize when I'm being more masculine and more feminine. So at this age, I am now distinguishing when I am in more of trying to be that feminine, that female, allow me, because, doing my fingernails, I don't normally do that.
Right.
But, at some point I did. I called because I was, you have to be a flower. You have to, put your pretty whatever thing, to adorn yourself when you're looking for mates, when you have a mate. You want to be a certain way to them. You want to, because they, there's so many other flowers out there that they're going to enjoy. You might as well radiate your beauty too in whatever ways that you, bring it out.
Might as well.
And so I did the fingernail thing, I did makeup for a minute, just for a hot second. I really, because my skin is too sensitive to wear most of that.
Right.
So, but all the hairstyles and doing the I never did real revealing clothing. If I'm wearing something tight up the top, it's gonna be something loose at the bottom. Or if it's something loose at the top, then I can wear something tight at the bottom. I don't want to flaunt, At some point, I probably did wear a couple of dresses every once in a while when I was putting my freedom dress on, something,
Yeah.
get something out my energy so that I can feel like, I might look like a bluesy for a second, but I'm just getting it out of my system. No, but to be that feminine me has taken time for me because I had this evolution of where I was tweaking I had to be the masculine energy.
Yeah.
And so I even started taking on some of the walk. Like, I even had this, I've been having a backache for the past couple of months because I took the twist out of my walk. I did not realize I had to have that feminine twist to go with the hormone energy, whatever was going on in my body, in order for my back to be in sync. So I put the twist back. No more back. I love it. So, and because I started recognizing how I was walking, I was getting good shoes. I was trying to get shoes that fit me right so I can have my natural walk. Well, unbeknownst to me, my natural walk is supposed to have a little feminine flavor to it.
That's right.
To be able to flow properly. And that's amazing, that as an adult, I'm discovering these things. I love the science of stuff. I love that I am now interested in how does this vessel operate and what are the real controllers on this video game image, hologram-ish. Yes. All atoms, protons, and neutrons electronically join, worshiping the sun and source. To some degree, I am a version of God, but I am exhibiting certain attributes that allow me to experience this existence in a certain way. So I'm from a feminine perspective, but I'm also, recognizing I have remnants of God, I have the spark of God, I have the light, I have the command of light and energy. And so, as I begin to learn that stuff, I now realize that the jewelry that I make, I have significance to how I do what I do. Because these waves are energy, these spirals are energy. So it's all intentional in how I, do. So this one is more of a balance, but I've got these waves in here to say, okay, I know there may be a little bit of chaos going on, but I need you to smooth it out by the time you get to me. So there's an outcome, there's an end goal. So I'm speaking a language now symbolically through what I wear and how I present it, so that I would say that is part of the science of self. These are new discoveries because I'm now opening my mind to the possibility that of the potential that I now harness and hold, which they say we have enough energy in us to be a nuclear explosion by ourselves, each person, for how much energy is interchanged and exchanged between ourselves and all the different functions of our vessel.
Right.
But I wanted to say that the other part we don't recognize the cellular memory from another life.
Right.
Yes.
Like what comes up for me is warrior. It's trying to warrior, and because she's ready. And that also comes from vulnerabilities from my mother, who never felt protected as a child. So she raised me spiritually very independent. And and then I went into a very male-dominated career. Well, always been the only woman in the room. And and because I was traveling with men, I never wanted the boundary close, so I had to be look almost very masculine. Like I was choosing shirts by like how many colors, not by there's a suit, this. Until about 5 years ago, I was doing some meditation, which I recommended. I recommend you don't meditate on YouTube videos. Because I found meditation and went into Kundalini meditation. So I woke up and I'm split in two, my left and my right. And I don't know what's happening. And I'm like, I'm so 10 minutes to put myself right. But after that, I had to go to someone and then I kept suppressed to so much that it's everything about it, right? And of course, the left side also represents. It's only now that I'm learning to sort of like,
Right.
you know, like you said, everything you said about,
Mhm.
you know, confronting myself or like
Right.
if I'm wearing something, well, that looks great on my clothes. I don't want to give someone the wrong idea
Mhm.
of
Yes.
what it is I am because they're going to focus on the outer and
Right.
ignore the soul.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Right.
So be very conscious about not the thoughts, but the unintentional effects
Mhm.
that will make someone, you know, it's like I'm very conscious that it's within my power.
Uh-huh.
But cultivating the feminine at this stage,
But
it is a challenge.
Yes.
it's doable.
Yes, it
But
is.
it's doable.
Whew.
Yes.
But it's doable.
Yeah, that is doable. We enjoying it a couple of days too.
Right.
Yes.
It's like I did the acoustic reading, had that done, and learned that I was from Mars originally. Mars is a warrior place, but even on Mars, I was a female, and I was a warrior where they were mostly the men were the warriors. So it was like, and I was one of the most powerful. So when Mars was no longer inhabitable, it's like then I'm in Pleiades. Now Pleiades is all about the mentalism. It's all about being able to manipulate and
Yes.
massage things. And
Yes.
so when I think about how I survived, it was
Yes.
being the warrior and being manipulative. You know, manipulative being that person that will plan how I'm gonna get this money that you owe me out of you, and knowing the most opportune moment to make you pay me, or you be short, or your show doesn't happen, or what you need doesn't take place. You know, and now in this age, in this space, being able to accept that so much of this masculine has been here. You know, talking to different friends, and they was like, well, you know, we were afraid of you. It's like I remember liking this boy named Torsus. And Torsus rode down because I was like the real tomboy. And Torsus rode down on his bike and was like, if he was the last female on earth, I'd date trees. I beat Torsus up. And Torsus he was taking martial arts, but I had all these brothers who was taking martial arts. And I didn't stay in martial arts class because I got hurt the first day and I quit. However, I fought my brothers enough to be able to handle myself. So I beat them up for saying that. And then went in the house and cried. And then later in life, Torsus is asking me out. You know, it's like when I started going to Ellington and had to take dance classes, and now I'm studying ballet, which was hard for me because I had so much of that masculine, and I was even lifting weights. I was bench pressing 200 in high school, you know, trying to keep up with my brothers. So I had to learn to move and flow and do things differently because the muscles built differently from lifting weights versus having muscles from dancing. And so the lift weights muscles wasn't as flexible as they needed to be. But as I started learning to have that grace, guys started coming at me that wouldn't. So when it came out, I was like, remember I beat you up? Because you ain't want you down. He was like, oh, we were kids then, you know. But to now be even in this space of understanding that most of the time my comforts might be still more masculine. So it's like this past couple of weeks I've just been taking the time. Let me just put a little eyeshadow on. You know, let me explore this feminine side since this masculine, you know, has been so prevalent. And because it's like I want people to see the feminine. Not that you can't see that I'm a woman when I walk in the room, but I want you to see that feminine, that feminine that usually go in the room and cry. And I said, and I think that's what it is, that crying in the pillow. No one saw that. No one knew that. So after I go and be feminine, when I show back up in the real world again, I'm in that masculine energy. I'm like, come for me. Right. It was balance. Right. But also want to be received outwardly in that feminine energy opposed to that masculine energy. So within myself, I'm balanced. Within myself, I'm whole. But the experiences, the exchanges isn't being balanced. And so now I'm working on having that balance be here so that you can know, you can get this feminine side. However, that other side will show up if she needs to, you know what I'm saying? When she needs to. So I'm not suppressing her. But what I am doing is letting out that part that has been suppressed to the public. so that you can see that feminine side,
I have a comment, and it's related to what both of you guys said. One is in reference to, you mentioned taking ballet. Okay, now I took ballet as a little girl, like for a couple of years, 6, 7, 8, 9, like that. But then I went into where now I got brothers, and now more brothers, and then more brothers, and now I'm a house full of men. But eventually I did stuff like basketball, football, wrestling, and beating up some of the fellas in the neighborhood, for whatever reason. How little boys chase you. Because they like you, but that's their way of showing they like you, is that they chase you. Well, I would turn around and show them a thing or two. But what I want to relate to is later on, I took some belly dance classes.
Mhm.
You're supposed to wiggle in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah. Look, I still got my belly dance belt.
Well, I had to learn how to open that area up to new muscle usage. And that was just maybe about 3 or 4 years ago. And so that's when I started recognizing. I didn't never say it out loud, but it just was never a thought before I'm actually speaking it out loud. So when I connected to it, I did not realize I was having back issues. And when I was doing belly dancing, it was great. But then my back issues started coming in, and like once a month, I had. At some point, it felt like I was walking, and then my body was shaking into like I did a back snap, just my walk. And so that would straighten it out, and I'd be okay for the next month. But then I stopped doing that. So now this is what, just a week and a half ago, I had that pain, and I was like, I don't understand, but I'm starting. I would just have to wiggle. So once I started wiggling regularly,
There we go.
my wiggle walk,
Wiggle.
yeah. But what I want to share with in reference to you, how you said, that warrior woman is like maybe the previous lifetime and that kind of thing. But I think that energetically, when my father passed, I felt an energetic rise in energy to what is, I guess, it's matriarchal, like maybe I'm now the matriarch of the family. And so I kind of felt that energetic rise. So I think that we also have the memories of our ancestors.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
I believe, I think I was some kind of warrior woman in some other lifetime as well. But sometimes there's certain things that come out. I took a little bit of martial arts here and there. And I did get maybe one concentrated year of that training. But that stuff comes out like I've been training for a lifetime.
Right.
What do they call that? Muscle memory.
Yes.
And even I don't think sometimes it's my muscles that's remembering it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you were saying about how you would have to twist it a certain way to release your pain in your back. Coming from a healing perspective, you are, because energy creates healing, and when you move, you're changing the flow of the energy, which is now balancing your root chakra. So that's what's happening, and you're able to kind of pull that back into alignment.
But these are things that I don't know. Like no doctor's telling me to do this.
No doctor,
Right.
Your body's
telling me how to handle what's going on.
We all have these innate abilities that we have not tapped into.
Yeah.
And the more of this that we do and talking to each other, you're going to find they're going to come to you. Things just come to me. And then when I had my Akashic records read, I found out that in one life they thought I was a witch. So I was burned at the stake. In the next life I was a priest. So I'm always wondering as a little girl, like my mom was depressed, but I was always that healer. Throughout my life, all of my occupations has been those of nurturing people and healing, in that kind of perspective. Now that I know all this, I can kind of tap into it, educate myself, and grow within that space. But, and like I told you, I spent a lot of time alone, but now venturing out doing stuff like this, because I have a lot of innate ability that I can share, and then tapping into other people to help keep my stream going.
Yeah.
So this is just It's
Yeah,
beautiful. Today
yeah.
is like amazing.
Yeah, Ashe.
Yes, you are.
Welcome.
But we also come here on Mondays for integration.
We
room
share.
days.
We share.
Okay, good. So there are other days that but
Right.
this is a spiritual place. It's
Right.
a place where it's
Right.
you can share and be free and be open with this. I don't, maybe I do need to go there. But anyway, things like aliens, things like the rabbit hole, things like the outer space ethers, us being able to time travel, being able to, what do you call that? Astral projection.
Right.
Astral travel, exactly.
Right.
We're on a whole different, open to all the vibes.
That's true. And growing up, I grew up, well, I traveled back to a household that was heavy religion laden. And it was their way was the right way or no way.
Mhm.
And I've always, because of traveling back there, been able to see that, just something within me is different.
Right.
And so now what I came to believe as an adult and through my studies is nobody has it right and nobody has it perfect. And unless we form everything together and have these spaces and circles like we're doing now and talk, we're never all going to have it just right. I call it form Voltron. We're all going to have to form Voltron to actually come up with the thing that's right. And there's some right in all of it.
Yeah.
And we have to allow people that space to be who they are. You don't know where they came from and what energies were unfilled and what they're tapping back into. And that's why people say stuff like, people are gay. I believe in it because they may be been a woman in their past life. Like I was a man, I could have tapped more strongly into that, even though I came back in a feminine body. So it's a lot of things that need to be tapped into and talked about that just aren't, that people don't understand. And holding space like this can help so many people.
Right.
Sources and male or female.
Right. Right.
It's what you do with just the energy.
With the
energy is not good or bad. It's not
Right.
Right.
So it's in how do we decide? How do we choose? What do we desire? How are we putting because we all are excited by different things.
Right. Right.
Even if we are feminine, we all have different pulse points, G spots, or whatever.
Right.
To bring on whatever the attributes are that's required at that point.
That's right.
And let's just leave it at that.
Is our next topic masculine and feminine?
Yeah, it's principles of gender. That's what we're discussing next week.
Okay.
So we've kind of moved away from positive into the principles of gender, but that's again to speak to what I said earlier. You really can't talk about one principle and not pull in the other principles because this is a cohesive wholeness where it all comes together to get to that one. And it's like we all have our experiences this life, whatever our past lives were. It's like, I know about my past life because of the Akashic records. I know that I've always been feminine in that, but I've always been the warrior. I've always been that feminine that went toe to toe with men, And in every life, there has been some man trying to suppress that masculine energy, trying to make me be their idea of feminine. And my person being one that's always rebelled against that. And like, I'm ready to fight. But at the same time, hiding the feminine part when I go into the dark and when I go into the secret place to cry, to go in. Right. Where had I probably cried in some of those spaces with men, they would have gotten to see the feminine side and then been able to now care about that feminine side, opposed to just being afraid of or trying to figure out how to dominate, oh, if I do that, she's going to be hurt. So, but I never trusted in that space to do that.
Right. Pull out the cleavage.
Right.
The split up.
Right. And so I never utilized it. I never utilized it.
So
right.
It's so good. And they big boss bitches.
Right.
I admire that embrace of their femininity to the point where they don't care if you see them big old supers popping out.
Right.
They proud of these are my warriors right here or whatever.
Right. And see me, my mindset was I ain't ain't gonna do all that. You know, I'm gonna wear my overalls. I'm gonna wear my combat boots. When even when I was working in theater, when we would have black galas, you know, and I would put on a dress and show up, it would be such a shock because people were used to see me in my combat boots, my black overalls, you know, and my t-shirt. That's how I roll. But if they said to me, "You have to put on the dress," I gonna put on the dress, and depending upon how long this event might be, I might have on my evening gown and be like, "These heels are for the birds," and I come back out and I got an evening gown on and combat boots, and everybody be like, "Precious, what you doing? What you doing?" Because it's like, look, I did this dress because y'all said I couldn't come in the building unless I had it on, so I got the dress on. I had these heels on, you know, until today. It's like, to wear heels is very, very rare for me because it's like my feet is not accustomed to that. And it's like yesterday I had some idea to put on some heels to go to the wedding. And then I was like, you know what? No.
You found a good balance because you look beautiful, feminine, and even if your shoes are flat, you look great.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's like just getting back to that space, but understanding who we are and where we are today. You know, again, back to the subject matter, cause and effect. You know, my cause has been, I've always been in this male dominated thing, and, you know, having all these older brothers like you, Precious, and then all of my cousins were male. So it was like the likelihood of me being this prissy thing, I didn't see how anyone expected that of me when all I had before me a bunch of males. However, when my younger sister was born, all of my cousins was female, and so she had all of these females to connect to be real feminine. And until today, I think she's so prissy, it doesn't make any sense, you know. But I'm like, I can handle mine, and so now it's to learn this prissy side. Now it's to tap into this prissy side, you know, to bring forth that feminine more, that so I can be comfortable just being prissy, you know. This is, it's taken me a while to put on some shorts.
They call it, what is it, dame, to dame up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the damsel in distress.
Mm-hmm.
But the blonde bombshell,
Uh-huh.
that's the secret weapon. And the government uses that
Mm-hmm.
as a weapon, you know, the sex cells.
Right,
They-
right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's supposedly the oldest profession in the world,
Yeah.
per se, is the woman using her womanly wiles to get what she
You
wants.
see it on TV all
Right,
the time.
right.
Or when an artist comes out with an album, and the first one, the cover may not be as feminine, but when you see them next time, they've changed and went all out, and they're just like the blonde bombshell on the
Right.
second album cover.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
sales.
They do
Right,
that. They
right.
do that. Oh, that's not the image you need to have. So you have to conform to the image that we
That's
want.
right.
Right.
That's again part of the
That's
program.
right.
Right.
And so
That's what
she-
we're ready to
so
bring out.
we were deprogramming ourselves. Seemed like to me to not have to be, we females, we
Right.
women, we have that feminine energy, but we're not the, you know, flaunt it kind of folks.
Exactly.
You know, because I have seen you, you know, with the tit and tat, you know, on front row. But I have also seen where it's like today is very tasteful, accentuated, and positive.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, there are times when the energy can be. I think when you have a male, you know, companion, when you have that other half, you know, you tend to bring out that more so.
Yeah.
It not to say it has to be, but I see in me the energy balance is better, more harmony if I stay in a specific, you know, frequency, you know, allow a certain amount of leadership, balance it out, share the leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, because, you know, I worldwide people that I was, you know, I would bring that into my relationships, you know, that I'm head chicken charge, you know, whatever.
Right.
But when I come home, I gotta take that hat off and I gotta put the sweetness on.
Yeah.
You know, the softer side of things, the feminine, the pink, you know, the little pink stuff, really. And so, you know, it is something that, you know, that balance needs to be there. muscle out. You start using those muscles.
Right.
So yeah, I'm using muscles that I wasn't used to using, like that twitch thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I would watch women, what you call it, switch,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's interesting. Why would they call it switch? She got that switch, you know. But that's also a switch. When you go out and get a switch for me,
Right.
you know. So these
Right.
words on things, you know.
Right.
So yeah, you gonna whip their little hand, but if you watch that, tip, 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 and she tips down, you know, and that's what most men watch. That's their focal point. Is they wait till the woman walks by, and then they watch her wiggle
Yeah.
or her switch. So that's interesting. I need to look those words up to find out how is it that, because that's a powerful energy
Yes.
that is being utilized, and it's a natural affinity for them to go to, you know.
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
Yeah.
But the other thought I had, as, I mean, if you read anything about channel information about the lives that people from the Indians, for instance,
Mhm.
live or serious live, they are more androgynous.
Mm-hmm.
There's no
Mhm.
clear male or female unless someone is in a breathing stage. So if I feel like that, and because they're of a higher vibration than we are, and we're moving towards that vibration, I think that's what also happens. There's no need to physically flaunt
Mm-hmm.
because your energy is
Right,
very different.
right,
What
right.
you're offering, what I'm offering is my heart, not necessarily the outer layer,
Right.
which is a shell. Right? Because if they're able to put their souls in shells as grace that they send, and they don't care how they look, that should tell you that form, even if it's no longer as important as it is now. Because you know, I feel that sometimes in society can be out of balance where it focuses so much on
Mm-hmm.
this is a form that should be, this is what is presented. There's nothing else being offered except the form.
Right.
You know, I mean, I am South African, and I am one of the straightest South African you find doing nothing. I don't know if you know about South African women. They are like curvy. Oh my goodness. You just have to look them up. So it's always been strange that, you know, I was as straight as can nothing. Like, and when I was younger, I was okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't any, I didn't feel threatened. I mean,
Right.
Mhm.
but I still felt okay.
Mhm.
And that's because I realized that if I do not have that outer shell to offer, what do I have to offer?
That's
Mhm.
right.
So if I walk in a room with my sisters for curves for days, it's like I'm not busy with competing for the same male. It's like I'm going to use something slightly different.
Right.
You know, they will present themselves, but I have to think a bit different.
Right.
You know, and I feel like that's what we're moving into, where the focus is not so much on our physicality as you to transcend or ascend.
Mhm.
As you ascend.
Yes.
So and it's being able to manipulate that energy, whatever it is within you.
Right. I love that you said that. I love that you said it. Because it makes perfect sense. And I'm in that same space where I'm more slim and straight up and down and I love it. I love the fact that I'm slim, you know? And
Envy the option sometimes. I see other people and I'm like, wow, you know, I hope I come back in my next life. Just said that yesterday. I saw a woman with a shape that was slim. She had a little tiny, and she was, you know, I want to have a physical form that pays more attention to the fitness and the foods and whatever it is, the mindset of someone that's well, like,
And we can achieve whatever we want, even in this space. And
Yeah.
when I came here, you know, up until I had children, I was real slim.
yeah.
And even after I had my first child, I danced. I worked out with Debbie Allen all summer, doing this street theater thing. And then when they started leaving out to go on tour, I'm like, I can't go ripping roll up down the road. I had a baby, but no one knew. You couldn't look at me and tell that I had given birth to this 10-pound, 7-ounce baby because of all of the work and the fitness. And even more recently, you know, I was closer to 400 pounds maybe 3 years ago. And just not so much working out, but making the decision that I'm going to live because I was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer, making the decision that I'm going to live and making life changes to start eating differently. And not so much working out, but more so, what am I telling myself mentally about myself? What are my inner conversations with myself? You know, I am not fat. I'm not obese. I'm not this. I am not what my body is presenting. You know, and, right. And to mentally and to say that and allow yourself to do that because the weight, even now, and it's like when I went back into my depressed state, I started putting back weight on, and it's really been for me the last couple of months of looking at how I'm presenting and what am I saying to myself. These Soulful Sunday discussions, I'm embracing all of these conversations, and when I leave here, I'm making it applicable to my changes that I need for my own self healing. You know, so that I'm not manifesting cancer because I went through cancer 3 times. I had ovarian cancer twice. I had breast cancer. The last time I was diagnosed with cancer was breast cancer, and to watch my mother die from breast cancer while I'm taking care of her, while I am making the decision to live and be healed. Yes. So just making the decision, now thinking about it, now eating. It's like anything you want is present for you today. So I get to take the manipulations of Pleiades to manipulate my own mind to say, I can't let the programming be the answer. I can't let the programming be who I am and how I show up and how I manifest. I got to use the manipulation to say, hey, you know, that's programming. Yes. Hey, you know, you can't allow this to take you out. Yes. You do know you can be okay. You do know you can be healed. You do know that whatever you release is because you need to release to make room for new. So it's like I went from having this house to having all of these wonderful, expensive things in this house. And Spirit told me to leave the house and sell everything. And it was hard. I was crying. I was letting go of stuff. And it was like, where am I supposed to go? I didn't have anywhere to go. And where I ended up was a place that was totally something I thought was not good for me. I see you, Precious. Something I thought wasn't good for me.
It didn't just tell you in a little small.
Right.
I told you this. I've been telling you this.
Right.
And finally you listen.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I always say that because that's how I am.
Right.
And that's how I feel. Sometimes I
right.
Right. And sometimes you go to the hospital, they be laying in the bed like, okay, I'm listening. Like listen before then.
Right.
But you teach yourself.
Right. Right.
You know, I see the signs more and more.
Right. And to know that and overstand and accept, okay, this was what was necessary for me to get to this space so that I could be here in this space and really have something to teach that will really help people have some substance in what it is I'm talking about, but also understand I gotta be free. Because if I'm manifesting healing, you know, where I'm hugging people and they're having kidney issues, and then their kidneys that was being rejected is now being accepted and they're okay. If I'm hugging people that were on deathbed, but because you hugged me and now you are doing well, you know, if I'm hugging people and simply my hugging you is healing, but then I'm starting to feel the effects of whatever it was that you had going on. So I have got to be in a place where I am even taking care of myself even more so, more intentionally, more with that whole mind game, so that I can continue to heal and not now take on what it was I just healed you from, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, so that we could be in this space.
Right. Exactly.
To touch the wall.
That's right.
That's right. To stay back.
That's
right. And so
it's
right. And so I didn't take those studies. I didn't learn those things. Fortunately, because I'm studying with some shamans, you know, they would say, well, Precious, you need to do this.
Right.
Maybe you should be doing this and learn, like even in coming in and cleansing the space. It was like there are certain things that you do so that you'll be an empathic person, you being the healing person, so that you are safe and whole,
That's
so
right.
that whatever you do, I can do those healings. And
That's
so
right.
I overstand them, that
Right.
I'm not even going to be bogged down to one place.
That's
Like I
right.
know a lot of people, I'm gonna go live here, I'm gonna go live here.
Right.
I'm gonna be in different places at different
Right.
times. But wherever I'm going, it's a worldwide calling,
Right.
you know. So to be
I
free
love that.
enough to be in this worldwide calling and not so attached to things
That's
anymore.
right.
And that was my
Right.
thing. I had all of these beautiful things, and I had done all of these accomplishments, and I've been in all of these places. And it's like that's good teaching material.
Right.
But now, how
But
do
you
you
can't-
integrate,
you
right?
can't
How do you
hold
integrate
on to it.
what you're supposed to have? How do
That's
you
right.
integrate what you're supposed to deliver?
Speaking of integrate,
We're gonna move to integration. This has been a good conversation,
It's
ladies.
beautiful.
I look forward to the strongs. We say strongs instead of weak. I look forward to the strongs coming in and
Yes.
sharing more, because
Yes.
these are powerful, and these are great ways to really get a foundation on how do I move in the next month.
and a good bridge. We have already been bridging for quite some time, integrating all the principles. At one point, we went off into the masculine and feminine discussion.
Yes.
And so, just to bridge the two cause and effects. Hey, buddy, give thanks for the message.
Yes.
Right. Mhm. As we give thanks for the opportunity, bridging cause and effect and law of gender, masculine and feminine. Part of all of our journey, generally speaking, is incarnating into an environment, a portal society that does not honor the divine feminine. So, years back, centuries back, it was taken out of religion and, for whatever reason, and again, not honored throughout centuries and centuries. So as we all, look to tap more into our own divine feminine, just remember the cause and effect is a much bigger picture. A lot of us, humanity in itself, those of us who especially are wired with that more feminine, healing, nurturing, compassion, energy, we've been done a number of, they say. So again, these discussions allow us to realize that that's one of the commonalities that we have. This so-called male dominant society that's some may consider toxic masculine energy. How to balance and become, cultivate our divine feminine to balance out our masculine, so it's no longer toxic, it's more divine masculine. Now to use that divine masculine in such a way where it reminds others how to use their divine masculine, because we're also coming from that divine feminine perspective of balance to the both. So, we look forward to our next strong getting more up into the divine masculine, or just the masculine and feminine. Whether it be divine or toxic, because there's a law of polarity. It is what it is, and how we reconcile this in our own beingness, balance our own self out, so that we choose to have a more of a divine masculine, divine feminine interaction with our own self. Then Ache it is, so shall it be.
Yeah.
And what we do now is integration and announcements. The integration piece, as trade goes around, is that we are in communion now. We are communing, our common unity, and sharing that which has come in our journey of bringing 5D to 3D. 5D vibration while existing and walking in 3D, bringing heaven to earth. And so this integration is symbolic of us integrating the information that was shared, information that was not shared out loud, the various uploads that may have come, as well as moving forward throughout the strong, any other uploads that come as a result of this, the seeds that was planted. So we simply say we're integrating all those things that are beneficial that has come through this portal, now that we have yet to really realize that we have a seed. And as we pass it around, just to, again, this is optional as well. And in announcements time, we'd like to maybe share more about Temple of Earth in and of itself, and the upcoming events and things like that. So, starting with Temple of Mother Earth, being as though we are already, has been alluded to, the portal, the environment that's here, and how it is a space, Temple of Mother Earth, a temple of higher consciousness. And so what we look to do is we invite all spiritual beings, all beings, who resonate with light worker, healer, wounded healer, peaceful healer, star seed, the manifestation of source energy, manifestation of God, all these things that are along the lines of this high work, the higher ascension vibration. And whatever modality, whatever path that is, Temple on Earth is a place for you to express that. The phrase we use is sovereignty, spiritual sovereignty. There's a lot of talk these days about nationality in your papers, in your birth certificate. That's still in the physical world. Those things are great, they have their place. However, we suggest that with spiritual sovereignty, it's more beneficial because this is what we believe. It's something about that spiritual sovereignty which allows us to operate free from any programming or conditionings from the external world. We're free to move as we're instructed to from spirit. So again, that's that spiritual sovereignty. This is a place for that. And with Soulful Sundays, on moon days, we have the integration circles. In the past, they have been men and women, generally, separate circles at the same time from 7 to 9. However, more recently, we've moved into the potluck, having potluck on moon days from 7 to 9. And part of that reason for moving to the potlucks was because the very first potluck that we had, it was after a strong end of ceremonies at the house next door. This is more of the public house. That is more of the private house, or more of the plant-based ceremonies using other plants, generally speaking, in various forms, and workshops and sacredness and sensuality and tantric and things like that. So, right. And we recently had a sweat lodge, which will be once a month, and also the ceremony with grandmother's called ayahuasca, which is now scheduled once a month. And so the first time it was the Friday and the Saturday of the sweat lodge and the ayahuasca. Then the moon day was the potluck. The energy was so great. Someone was like, hey, we should do this every moon day. And so since then, we've been having potlucks every moon day. However, Temple Mother Earth, which should be somewhere, make sure you have it before you leave, is a place that you will find all of the events, the standalone events, once the come along events, and also the strongly events, which includes the gateway meditation, which is something that we've been doing, and is also looked at. The I.C.U. is one of those sponsors, and the I.C. and the I.C.U., as we spoke earlier, Indigenous Cultural University, is a part of this I.Admit movement, I.Admit Nation, which we hold. And the I.Admit is an acronym for Indigenous Aboriginal Man in Trust. It is the philosophy or lifestyle that we're suggesting that allows one to be sovereign. You're walking, you're trusted within a divine being. And so the marriage or the partnership, if you will, is our philosophy of this sovereign spirituality is in line with heaven on the earth. So as mentioned, we started in October with the online classes, and we moved here in April so that we're more in person. And so with Temple of the Earth's outreach and what we're doing with I.Admit, we're just saying, hey, the light is on, and whenever you're ready, the space is here. Come on home, right? Because we are it. Yes, you are. Yeshua, 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 Yeshua. Yes, you are Yeshua. Yes, you are. We are it. And mentioned about the Collective Health Initiative also. In October, we're having a self-healing symposium. October 21st, again, is part of the I.Admit movement. However, again, back to the gateway meditation, which is actually this Thursday. That's more important. And, President Mother Love may speak more about it because this is more or less, her baby. My person is honored to support and assist in what we call the gateway meditation.
So somewhat about how we got there. I started doing full moon events about 8 years ago. So off and on over the last 8 years, I've been honing in on the lunar energy and getting more familiar with how the moon relates to our suns and getting energetic about it. Like earlier this week, we had a fire circle, and they had like a Indian tradition of how to do fire and how to respect the spirit of fire. And so I started combining all those things, but then one day in a sun gaze, well, actually, it started in a dream. I had some dreams about let's build something and they will come. So it gave me the pieces step by step of what to build. And come to find out, the CIA also has a project with the same name. NASA has also the same discoveries. And what's been downloaded is what we now call the technique of gateway meditation. And it's got various pieces in it that are the same pieces that they're using, but we are using it with another intention. They had it for militaristic, intrusive, trying to seek secrets from the other side, sort of thing. Military usage. It may have some other uses that they use it for good, but we know that the power is being used for what is not good mostly. So I'm helping us to hone in on our skills. I'm called a sacred arts curator. So I consider healing an art. I consider wellness. Life, it's really, you're painting a picture the whole time. Life is a stage. We are the artist that's creating the palette, the canvas that we're painting on. So anyway, we have wellness words of wellness that we start off the evening with. Some health hacks that we come up with. And so the second part of the evening is where we'll do the gateway. So we're walking the gateway the rest of the night. Now this time, we're doing these breathing techniques and healing techniques. We have an artist that is performing at the end of the night. The performance is his song is called The Breath of Life. So it kind of goes hand in hand with, he talks about this, we say, street mysticism with ancient wisdom. He actually incorporates that into the value of the words that he used in this song. This is the 50th anniversary of hip hop, so I'm kind of embracing what season we're in and allowing these arts to merge together for the purpose of our wellness. And so that's Thursday. It's free, but we do ask that you bring a chair, you bring a yoga mat, open mind, or maybe even some bug repellent, because it's a beautiful backyard. Huge circle, fire circle. There will be drumming, and so the drumming circle, all that vibration, we're amping each other up into our healing place, and then intending our I am statement. So one of those workshops, one of those 12 words of wellness, we're going to get you to pull down what your I am statement is for the night, and you will be in that energy through the gateway process. And we're intending that you will be able to, not only place your order when you say I am, but you'll actually make the deposit into the ATM for your future karmic return, for you to be able to pull out from your karma machine. And even though I'm not sure if I believe totally in karma, as much as I believe the law of reciprocation, that to say that if this is the degree to which that I am doing this with you, this is the degree to which it is returning to me, not necessarily from the same source, but from the level of energy.
Get back to polarity and cause and effect.
Exactly. All of those laws, exactly. So I'm not certain, all of that may come out to be the equation of what karma is, but they each have their own specific lane and value and build up to the final equation, which is to be able to operate in source, knowing your controls, knowing how to advance and retreat if necessary for protection or whatever. And there was something else I wanted to say. One thing which I believe we all can do, which I know Shep sometimes remind me of, we said something about earlier, wonder powers activate, what you call it, Voltron? Form Voltron.
Form Voltron, yeah.
Yes, and at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, I usually have imagined when we were in divinity school, they said, imagine what your force field is like.
Yeah.
And so I put up my force field and I have key words and wonder powers activated.
Yes.
I'm going to use that Voltron
Yes.
form. I'm going to have to go back and get more into that, because that is something that I pay much attention to. Certain movies I've seen and they kind of gone over my head because I wasn't in that mind space at the time when I was viewing it.
Comes together and visually they become bigger.
Right.
Powerful force.
Right. See, so I'm saying that we can actually have our keywords and almost like press the button, like, Agent 99 or get smart. We push the button and we get smart with our energy. And now we have our protective shield on for our passageway, safe passage, or wherever it is that we're going to. And so in that way, I am now thinking I would like to be able to put some of my masculine energy into that force field so that it doesn't have to weigh on me. It can be in hiding in, in its secret place of where it, so when I go to my phone group and I say activate, then like you said, it's there. It's there. Just go, so anyway, this Thursday, 31st, it's from 6:30, the gates open, 7 o'clock we start our program, 7:15 at the latest, but we're gonna try to be as prompt as possible because there's a lot to pack in.
We will be.
And we want, it's here, it's at this location, but we're gonna be out there. We have lights, and we have vendors, and, it'll be, it's an oasis when we get back there. Usually we doctor it up and just naturally all of it blends together. The energy comes together. The vibe is usually like a zen zone. So one love. Hope to see you there.
Right.
Come on out.
Well, just want to ask if anyone's first time, is there anything you'd like to share to close out your experience? Anything that comes to mind? Oh,
About that. Let's go ahead and get through the integration part. We can hold this one,
okay.
and then we do that program.
All right. Well, we integrate everything, including what we do after this. And with this time alone, we just want to say, right on, amen and ashe.
Right on. Amen and ashe.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, Ms. Pepper, have something to share? Any value you want to add to this equation before we pull the plug?
Okay, it's my first time. It's my first experience, so
Beautiful. Oh, thank you.
And we are going to close with all of us going to
Okay.
the bowls so
I
that
just-
everybody can share that image.
I've said it a few times, but I feel at home, and I'm just excited, so excited to be here. And like I said, I'm excited to bring to the table my innate abilities, and then I'm open to receiving what Source has for me to receive from this new year.
Yeah.
I am here. I usually trust my guidance, and
Yes.
I'm lucky because they had to tell me in meditation to come, because I guess I had been ignoring it. But I feel like everything that is resonated, been with whatever is intended to happen. They see that thing. That has been like everything has been exactly said, everything you said. So that is great. And what I was laughing at when you're talking about that I am is that I'm finding that Saint Germain keeps on talking about in things that are resonating, even when I don't think that's what that is. Like I want to do something, and then I'm like, oh, this is what I'm doing, and then there's the I am. And even my meditation this morning is it was more like I am, as opposed to I'll have other words, but it was strictly I am. So
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
It was almost like confirmation. Things, sometimes you walk out and it's like, but it was almost like, let's bring it back. Integrate. This is now integrated into, that's right, you're connected. Yeah. Connecting the dots. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Beautiful. And I just noticed, I noticed it earlier, but Precious Funaya is in all white. And Precious Mother Love is in all black.
Yeah.
And, the complementary, the bookends, we seem to have somewhere in the middle. We are reflections of each other.
Right. And your person is lighter, our person is darker. So this is the yin and the yang. The black with the light and the light with the dark. Wow. That's right. Yeah. And with that, we just give thanks. We give thanks to begin like we end. Start like we began. Giving thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks for this moment in time of faith. Coming together as one, then one. Giving thanks to all forms of our higher self. Listening to the motherfucker God, the Holy Spirit, the Richard. These are the masters, angels, archangels. They actually never that. We give thanks for your guidance, your assistance on this matter, until we call upon you again in such a way. We bid you adieu. So today, right on, I said, and I said.
All right. Thank you all for joining with us. We're going to end here. We'll play a little bit, but we're going to move from this energy to the sound bowl. So for those who are present with us, you know, they'll have that opportunity to go back into our true beginning with the sound bath, just so that we can manifest some healings and manifest some things that people are looking to manifest and manifest that peace and connectivity within. So we'll do a little of this, and then we're going to move into that space. Until next strong, everyone. Peace.
Look at that. 1 p.m. on the dot.